The most dangerous pressure never sounds dangerous. It sounds reasonable. It sounds caring. It sounds urgent. It sounds like your own doubt speaking back to you. That is why it works. You feel the shift before you name the trick. Your chest tightens. Your words get smaller. Their confidence gets louder. And suddenly you are defending yourself in a conversation you did not start. Tonight, we put names on those moves. You are about to see 5 dark psychology tricks built to rush your judgment and weaken your boundaries before you realize it. You've felt this before. Something felt off, but the pace of the moment kept you from checking it. That is the first cost of manipulation. It steals your pause, and without the pause, your standards disappear. By the end, you will hear these patterns sooner, name them faster, and answer them without giving your center away. Start with the oldest trick in the book, urgency that benefits them more than it protects you. Real urgency explains clearly, respects questions, and focuses on the problem. Manufactured urgency fogs details, demands trust, and makes your hesitation sound like a flaw. Watch for compressed timelines paired with emotional pressure. Decide now. Reply now. If you cared, you wouldn't need time. Here's what's really happening. Your nervous system is being pushed to choose relief over clarity. The moment you feel rushed, treat speed itself as information. A healthy request can survive one deep breath, one clarifying question, and one night of sleep. Picture the office version. A coworker says a boss needs an answer immediately, yet cannot show the email or the real deadline. Picture the dating version. Someone pushes for access, commitment, or intimacy fast, then frames caution as coldness. In both cases, the same rule applies. Pressure is not truth. So here's how you take your power back. Slow the tempo with simple language. I don't decide under pressure. Send it to me in writing. I'll get back to you tomorrow. That response does 2 things. It protects your judgment, and it reveals whether the relationship can tolerate your boundary. There is one tell even sharper than urgency itself. When they panic at your pause, the pause was exactly what they feared. The second trick is quieter because it often hides inside kindness. A lot of manipulation does not come with threats. It comes with a debt you never agreed to owe. They do a favor, offer affection, or speak with painful disappointment, then wait for repayment in obedience. This works because most decent people hate feeling ungrateful. You are not weak for responding to guilt. You were trained to protect connection, and manipulators know how to lean on that reflex. Watch for sentences that turn choice into moral failure. After all I've done for you, I guess I just care more. I wouldn't ask if it wasn't important. The message underneath is simple. Prove your goodness by abandoning your boundary. Healthy gratitude feels warm. Manufactured obligation feels like a bill arriving at your throat. Here's a fast test. If appreciation disappears the second you say no, it was leverage wearing a smile. At home, this may look like a family member keeping score of sacrifices. At work, it may sound like a manager praising loyalty right before asking for unpaid extra effort. In relationships, it often appears as wounded silence designed to make you chase repair. Watch for this. The manipulative person may not argue the facts at all. They make the conversation about your character, because guilt is easier to trigger than consent is to earn. So answer the guilt, not just the request. I appreciate what you've done, and my answer is still no. I can care about you without agreeing to this. That is not cruelty. That is emotional clarity, and clarity starves guilt hugs. If you've ever said yes just to stop feeling like the bad guy, you're not alone. Tell me below. And keep listening, because the next move is the one that makes smart people doubt their own memory. Gaslighting is not just lying. It is the repeated attempt to make your perception feel less trustworthy than their story. Sometimes it is blunt, that never happened. More often, it is subtle. They deny tone, edit context, change earlier promises, or insist you're overreacting to what was obvious minutes ago. The goal is not simply to win the point. The goal is to make you spend so much energy proving reality that you stop defending yourself. This is why the body notices before the mind does. You leave the conversation replaying details, checking texts, and wondering why certainty suddenly feels arrogant. Then the moving goalposts appear. You meet the standard they demanded, and the standard quietly relocates. Now the issue is your tone. Now it is your timing. Now it is something you were never told mattered. Here's the sharper reframe. Confusion is not always a sign that you missed something. Sometimes confusion is the product they are delivering. A normal misunderstanding gets clear with honest conversation. Manipulation gets murkier the more you explain. Use simple anchors. Write key agreements down. Save messages. Repeat back what was said in plain language and ask for confirmation. Not because you need to win a courtroom case. Because documented reality protects you from being trained out of your own perception. Here is an everyday example. A partner promises to call, disappears, then accuses you of being intense for noticing the broken pattern. The trick is not the missed call. The trick is turning their inconsistency into your instability. So here's how you shut it down. Do not debate your feelings like they are evidence on trial. State the pattern, state the impact, and state the boundary. When plans keep changing and my concern is dismissed, I step back. Short, clean, unhooked. The people worth keeping will respond to clarity. The people using confusion will resent the light. The fourth trick feels good at first, which is exactly why it slips past strong people. Some manipulators study you by agreeing with you too quickly. They mirror your humor, your wounds, your values, even your language, until the connection feels uncannily instant. Chemistry can be real, but forced fast intimacy often borrows your identity before it reveals theirs. Watch the sequence. They learn what matters to you, echo it back perfectly, then use that closeness to accelerate trust. This can happen on a first date, in a friendship, in a business pitch, or during recruitment. The danger is not kindness. The danger is speed without substance. Anyone can sound aligned for an hour. Consistency is what proves alignment over time. Here is the tell most people miss. Real connection survives small disappointment. Manufactured connection becomes unstable the moment you slow down, disagree, or ask for specifics. Maybe they shower you with attention for days, then turn cold when you ask a basic question. Maybe they speak like a soulmate yet stay vague about ordinary facts. Maybe a charismatic leader says your group is special, then punishes independent thinking. Here's what's really happening. Charm is being used as anesthesia so your standards fall asleep before the facts arrive. The defense is not cynicism. It is pacing. Let trust grow at the speed of evidence. Let people repeat themselves across time settings and stress. If intensity arrives before reliability, enjoy the feeling but do not invest your safety in it. And stay with me, because the fifth trick rarely looks dramatic. It looks like 1,000 small cuts to your confidence. The fifth trick uses other people as invisible tools. Instead of speaking plainly to you, the manipulator brings in outside opinions, comparisons, and third-party pressure. Everyone agrees with me. Even they think you're difficult. My ex never had this problem. This tactic is called triangulation, and its purpose is simple. It makes you feel outnumbered, replaceable, or defective without giving you a fair conversation. Notice how efficient that is. They do not need strong evidence if they can summon a phantom audience. Social pain hits hard because humans are wired to fear exclusion. That is why comparison can shrink you faster than criticism. In families, triangulation creates rivalries. At work, it creates politics and secrecy. In relationships, it makes you compete against ghosts and perform for approval. Here's the everyday scenario. You raise a concern, and instead of answering it, they tell you 3 unnamed people already think you are overreacting. Your attention leaves the issue and runs toward acceptance. That is the trap. You stop asking, "Is this true?" and start asking, "How do I get back in good standing?" Watch for this line, especially. If you talk to anyone else about this, they'll say the same thing. Healthy people welcome clarity. Manipulative people preload the room so you surrender before checking the facts. The defense is directness. Ask for names, examples, and first-hand conversations. Refuse to argue with anonymous juries. I'll discuss this with the person involved. If there is feedback, I want it directly. That single move breaks the spell. Because triangulation needs shadows, and direct communication turns the lights on. There's a deeper pattern beneath all 5 tricks. Urgency steals your pause. Guilt steals your right to choose. Gaslighting steals trust in your perception. False intimacy steals your standards. Triangulation steals your sense of stable ground. And when those thefts stack up, you start abandoning yourself before anyone has to openly control you. That is the real danger. Most manipulation works best when it doesn't look like domination at all. It looks like confusion, pressure, obligation, chemistry, and consensus. Ordinary words. Extraordinary damage if you never name the pattern. Recovery from manipulation starts with 2 permissions: permission to pause and permission to disappoint people who profit from confusion. You do not need a dramatic confrontation to protect yourself. Sometimes the strongest defense is a slower reply, a shorter explanation, and a firmer exit. Notice the difference between guilt and responsibility. Responsibility asks you to repair what is yours. Guilt asks you to carry what was placed on you. That distinction can save years. Aware people are not cold. They are simply harder to corner because they value clarity more than immediate peace. So build one habit starting tonight. When something feels off, do not rush to explain them. First, slow down and describe the pattern to yourself. Name the move in 1 sentence. Pressure, guilt, confusion, false intimacy, triangulation. The moment you can name it, you stop absorbing it as truth. You become harder to script because your awareness interrupts their sequence. The goal is not to distrust everyone. The goal is to trust reality, trust patterns, and trust the calm part of you that notices before panic speaks. If this helped sharpen your radar, subscribe for the next breakdown, because we expose the tactic and the defense together. And watch the next video if you want the warning signs that appear before manipulation becomes a cycle. Stay observant. Stay calm. Keep your power.